Hey you, it's almost tax season. It's almost tax season where some people are either running away or some people are running into taxes. Those who know how to use taxes or those who don't know how to use taxes. But there are other pockets of people whereby after the delay catches up and IRS begins to engage in their tax collection attempt, they will start sending you lien, levy, or assessment letters. Let me make it very simple for you by making it very short. Did you know, just like the Fair Credit Reporting Act and the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act, there's something called Fair Tax Collection Act. It basically has similar stipulation and conditions as to how and why the IRS can or cannot start making tax collection attempts. Anytime they write something to you over the mail regarding any purported debt of taxes, there are specific stipulations to it. Did you know that? It behooves me, a lot of people are not aware of this. But here it is. Public Law 105-206, 112 Stat 685. What we're looking for, a very, very specific section. This section right here. We'll say it, we'll leave it there, and I'll leave the rest of the due diligence to you. But know that a document for this is on a website to streamline it and make it easy for you. But nonetheless, here's the language within IRS code that stipulates and limits their own tax collection activity. Merely knowing that, oh, the treasurer is, or the secretary of treasurer is in Puerto Rico, that is not enough. If you throw all that contention on a piece of paper during a tax collection and you're not entertaining directly the issue of how they can collect the tax, or that whether you even have or qualify for the tax in the first place, then you're screwing up. Because see, tax is not about whether you pay it or not, it's about qualification. When people ask you, oh, should rich people pay taxes, or are taxes voluntary or not, which is contention you will hear from a lot of people, people are stuck on the wrong thing. The question you should be asking is not whether tax is voluntary or not. The question you should be asking is not whether tax should be paid by rich people or not. The question you should be asking is, do you qualify for taxes? Qualification for tax is the primary and first notion before whether you should ask whether it's voluntary or whether you should pay it or not. If you qualify for tax, then sure, you're liable to pay it. If you're not qualifiable, or if you don't qualify for taxes, then it doesn't even raise the issue of whether it's voluntary, or whether if you're rich you should pay it or not, or if you're not rich whether you should pay it or not. Tax is all about qualification. That's that. But now here's this. Section 6304, Fair Tax Collection Practices. This is your solution. Whenever someone begins to come at you to say, hey, pay us some tax. Just like the same collection principles within Fair Debt Collection Practice Act, it exists with taxes also. If you take a Fair Debt Collection Practices Act and you throw it at IRS, there's a million ways they can walk around that. If you take a Fair Debt Collection Practices Act and you throw it at IRS, there's a million ways they can walk around that. But since it's a taxable issue, they're not saying it's a debt. Did you know that? It's a receivable. But the way they classify that receivable is not necessarily a debt. But guess what it is? It is a tax. And guess what? They refer to you as a taxpayer within their letter. But there are certain languages that says if you are collecting tax and you are the IRS, there's certain things you should not do. And you, the one on the other end where they're coming to, if you should not even begin to go into the details of the subject matter as to whether it's voluntary or whether you're a taxpayer or whether the commissioner exists one way or the other. None of that. Stick with the premise. Don't talk yourself to death. That's what a lot of people do in pen and paper. Stick to the premise that will kill the foundation of what they're doing. The least you cannot say is someone has not shown it to you. It is right here, section 6304, Fair Tax Collection Practices. Read it. It's a very, very short section. It's not that long. It's a very easy read also. Read it, put it to use. So much so that within it, they even said, look, similar prohibitions and principles within the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act exists as it does within the Fair Tax Collection Act. And there's a potential civil liability if they violate it. Read the basic foundation of how they can collect tax first before you start doing other things or start to expect to abate certain things. Until next time, take care. Best of luck.
I have a Patreon page and I'm inviting you to come join. Are you interested in discharge? We show everything about how it's done and my own experience. Consistent posts are made explaining many things regarding said discharge. Many will seek and simply wouldn't find. Those dealing with mortgage issue or want to know more about it, we speak of it. For those dealing with basic stuff like traffic issues, we speak about the solution and I show it from my own experiences and how I permanently prevent any such issues. Those worrying about trust, different types of trust, we go over so many things consistently. Regarding trust, we show the IRS manuals. Those who are interested in suing and making money through debt collection or other means, we go over it, we show it. I show my own settlement checks and the things that I've done as a personal experience. Those interested in banking, we show subtle details and intricacies of the things that I have learned. For those interested in other things like the IRS forms and how to put it to use, we show it, explain the details. For those interested in court-related matters and intricacies, we always show it. For those interested in the spiritual aspect of things and how it works, we show and explain it. Those with child support matters, we explain and we show everything in detail also. Great puzzle pieces that can never be found in other social media platforms, but we explain it all as it relates to many different things. For those interested in express trusts and the issue of how not qualifying for taxation, which I call dinking, how it relates to any other type of trust or any other affairs, and how you can intertwine your affairs into the different types of discharge that exist and lack of qualification for taxation. Speak about it. The truth about really recusing attorneys and the whole foreign agent registration and attorney lawyer number, we speak about it. Speak about how to really bring about juries, and some of the comment section asks good questions and greater answers are given. Speak about how to get and use tax exemptions for vehicle use and sales. You don't have to belong to some organization. You can actually get yours according to the language of the legislature within your state. Go over the details that a lot of people mentor about regarding Article 1, Article 3. What really makes a court? It's not limited to just your paperwork. Most people don't know. We go over business matters for those with actual businesses, S Corp, C Corp, LLCs, those who are business minded and those who make monies. Go over other things that a lot of people don't know functions internationally. We speak about a lot of other spiritual related matters. Details on how to bring criminal charges, what it truly means to bring criminal charges, what a bill of particulars is, how to recuse a judge, details of the parliamentary rules in court and legislature, different things about standard of evidence and burden of proof, different things that a lot of people will speak of. Discovery. But did you know there are 6 types of discoveries? You know how to intertwine your LLCs and S Corps with an express trust, how to not make them taxable. Do you know when Trinity versus Pagliaro really is involved? Do you know how to use your home as a home office? And the many details involved. Go over the injunction and how to enforce the different types of injunctions that exist. The intricacies of how data brokers exist and how they steal information. Not just the credit bureaus, but many data brokers, and how you can prevent them. We go over grants, getting grants. We go over issues and solutions of CPN and how they're created. There are about 6 or 4 to 5 different parts that were created. We go over caveats where people say sue them, but they don't really know. We go over the things to do after you sue them. We go over the issues of privacy and technology. All the whole thing about perfection of security interest, UCC, and how to use it and how to monetize the birth certificate, all that. We go over the details. There are a lot of principles and doctrines people don't know about that we go over. Go over how to really do the copyright and the details involved in it. Go over how to simply do a trademark. It's far more easier than you think. All these people telling you go to a trademark office, do this, write this letter. It's not that difficult. Go over how to fill out the GSA bond box at a time, and so many more. How to get settlement checks, how to put your vehicle in a trust. I show you from my own experiences, form for form, step by step. We go over the different types of relief to be granted. The type of relief you seek invokes the type of jurisdiction that you fall under. All these people speaking about chancery, equity, and law, common law, the relief that you seek is directly tied to the type of jurisdiction. You go over the CPN, how it's created. Go over how to obtain bonds, where to do it. Go over the different types of discharge and some more. We explain each of those types of discharge. We explain how trademark and copyright is affiliated with asset protection. We go over how to prove trust. We go over the different types of fraud. We go over the importance that many people will never know. So many more. I show my own experiences in the audio calls from court cases of how I get different types of settlement checks. Go over the different types of discharge. There's so much more that it can't even completely be spoken of here regarding trust. We go over how to create it step by step, and many more things that will never be shown on YouTube or any other platforms. Go over other principles that people don't know about when they speak about statute of limitation. Well, fraud does have a statute of limitation, but do you know how to subvert it? As to why that phrase fraud has no statute of limitation to bring it to life, most people don't know. There's so many things that we speak about. We speak about how to garnish people's checks and people's property. There's a form that you use for that. People don't know about it. Speak about details regarding foreign trustees. Speak about spiritual related matters. And on the Instagram page, if you get to join, come on over. There's also a Facebook page where questions and answers are posted and other reminder links to certain videos are shown. Until next time, take care. Best of luck.